Kۆنfrانسی, actually, who do that my classes. So that topic will be driven by the Shirin journey and most of nearly 20 years of the experience in the peace building and conflict preventions. And she's working as well with the global relations for preventions, armed conflict. And she has a very long profile, so I'll go with some bullet things. That's she is currently focused on the community works, specialized in the implementing of the early warning area response and the system in the Middle East and North Africa. She's currently served as a team leader of the Stopping Killing Robots campaigns, and she's become exclusive members of the Green Party at Lebanon and many other things. So it's your time. You have 20 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I want to thank also the organizing team for inviting me. And I think I'm humbled to be here at this very sad memory in history, to say that, as Sohina was saying now, and as our colleague was saying, never again. So what we say and what we're going now to talk about is how we're going to understand different processes of how not to have things happening again. We were talking, Sohina was talking about accountability. How can we talk about accountability if we do not have international legal documents as reference? How can we talk about accountability if we're not able to see what are the margin lines, what is the baselines for the work that we're doing? As part of the work that I do in terms of prevention is the issue of arms control. We have seen genocide in here, and we have seen it in Tamil. We are also witnessing genocide right now before our eyes in Gaza. And we have seen how different international legal obligations are gone without legal or without actual implementation. I want to talk now about what are two different international legal obligations that we can refer to in our talks, and how we can push forward the discussion that we are having today to talk about parameters that we can build on our discussions so that we can make these states accountable. How can we make it? In 2013, Small Arms Survey did a research about small arms light weapon in Fiji and Solomon Islands to say that even these small conventional weapons are causing harm to people. From this, a new parameter started, and a new activism across different areas within international community to talk about how can we decrease the human suffering. And that was the process that led in 2013 to have the Arms Trade Treaty. The Arms Trade Treaty came in force in 2014 when 50 countries became signatory parties. Just to mention, in our region, it's only Lebanon, Palestine, and Mauritania that are state party to the Arms Trade Treaty. And this gives us a lot of question marks. What are we doing in terms of being part of this international treaty? Maybe it's not about what kind of processes that we want to have within this, bits and pieces in terms of civil society, but what is the role of states in preserving international peace and security? So the Arms Trade Treaty, unfortunately, also I joined as part of the coalition to work on the engagement and lobbying state parties to the Arms Trade Treaty in 2019. And unfortunately, even in the United Nations, we find lots of member states that are representative in United Nations are unaware exactly of what is the Arms Treaty. And they tell us, yeah, but we have the right to self-defense and we need to have weapons here and there. Yeah, but this is not the issue of of the Arms Trade Treaty. The Arms Trade Treaty has certain articles that put restrictions on the issue of genocide, because we're talking here about genocide. In Article 6, for example, of the Arms Trade Treaty, it talks about if you want to transfer weapons, you need to know that these weapons will not be causing genocide, especially when we're talking of sending weapons to armed conflict. In Article 7, it talks about risk assessment. If you want to send weapons, you need also to do a risk assessment and to see what kind of implications these weapons are going to have. The importance also of this Arms Trade Treaty is that in its Article 7, it mentions the impact of gender-based violence. So what is the implications of sending weapons on gender-based violence and on women? So just to see it, that the Arms Trade Treaty is its main objective is not to stop production of weapons, it's not to stop sending of weapons, but it's to put a regularity framework for the exchange of weapons, for importing, exporting, and manufacturing of weapons. So this is, in short, the ATT. I want to mention, I was 3 weeks ago or so in Geneva for the conference of state parties, where I met our colleagues here who invited me, the Consul Ali, Mr. Ali. So it was there that we can see what is that we want from our states to endorse, how we want to push also our member states to be part of these international obligations and international regulatory systems, and how is it that we want also to hold our member states accountable for things that they are not doing. So now we have seen how Palestine pushed forward, and for the first time in the history of the ATT, in terms of accountability, and how Palestine held a meeting to talk about the genocide and the complicit work of member states, especially like they refer to the ICJ's court talking about genocide, and how they held also states accountable who are sending weapons to Israel at this time without doing the risk assessment, without looking also at the implication of having these arms transferred to Israel. This is on one hand a treaty that we in the room, I hope we will be able to push also our government to join the ATT as part of a regularity, and as well to hold maybe some kind of an accountability to talk about genocide and other things. Other things that I want to mention, and this is something that Sohina was talking about, technological developments. Definitely when we talk about the Killer Robots campaign, which I am also part of since 2019, the Killer Robots campaign is a campaign that talks about how is the development of technology not taking the human control into account. So we're not talking about the development of technology as we want. Definitely we want technology to be developed, but we're talking about the development of a weapon machinery that is not taking human control into account. We're talking about a machine that is, and I think now in the recent genocide in Palestine, there are certain now documentation of how also the processes of killer robots are being documented, but we still need time to have it proven in terms of data collection. But we're talking about here how the data collection is being set. There's a sensor, like this data is produced, and then there's a sensor which select, target with force human beings without a human control. So the Killer Robots campaign was able to have a General Assembly resolution last year talking about the importance of looking into this. But up till now, the Killer Robots campaign is not able to have this legally binding instrument of saying that the developments of weapons need to have the human control. And unfortunately, with the development of these weapons, it's dehumanizing people. This digital dehumanizing of people, having us only as data, having us also only as like with inequality, having us like within our different genders, our different racial backgrounds. And definitely when we talk about the implications of this killer robots, we're definitely talking about genocidal impacts. This, unfortunately, this machine will be killing humans without having numbers, without having also accountability. Who are we going to have accountable? Is it the programmer? Is it the machine? So also in terms of international humanitarian law and in terms of human rights and in terms of international law, things of accountability will not be processed with this sensor of information. And it's not about a particular machine. It's about different types of sensors. So to make a long story short, there can be no genocide in vacuum. There is no genocide without indicators. There is no genocide without weapons. And for this, we need to be really aware of what is happening around, what are the international mechanisms, and how to push our governments to also to be part of these international engagements. And this is our role in this room, how to push our governments to be part of these international treaties that decrease human suffering. Thank you.